I have to write down and I write down herpiculturist.
That sounds great.
Herpiculturist, you know, and
you usually put sex therapist.
Sex therapist.
But sex therapist.
Yeah.
Or ballerina. I like
Jayne puts down.
I put ballerina.
Yeah, ballerina.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
They never look right, but you got to put it down. So
I just feel like it's hard to be an expert in something that is always evolving. It's always like you can't like you're like, for instance, I've never met somebody who literally says, "Oh, I know it all." Like, I've yet to meet a know-it-all in this hobby, and I respect that. But I feel like being an expert is kind of saying you're a know-it-all.
And saying you're an expert almost sounds to me like saying, okay, I've achieved the top as far as I can go. I am now an expert, you know, I've scored 100, and it's just not that way.
You know, I kind of know what I'm doing within my world, but if you put me in somebody else's world, I mean, if you sent me over to Nerd, or if you sent me to Barcheck, or you sent me, you know, to some of these other places, I wouldn't have a freaking clue. You know, like the knowledge that some of these people have is incredible. You just have to admire it, you know, and it all comes from passion. All these people, the one thing they have in common is incredible passion for what they do, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marcus, I mean, the biggest thing I've got to learn from you so far before this podcast started is how big of a mentor you are to a lot of mentors in this hobby. Like, you got to understand how well you're respected to, like, I'm talking about the heaviest hitters in this game. Like, and they look at you as that mentor, like as that somebody who literally they look up to on all sorts of level, whether if it's a person, being a person to a business person, you know, business side of things. And how does that make you feel? Like, how does, you know,
old makes me feel old. I don't it's a big compliment, you know, to think that I've mentored some people, but I like, you know, people, and I like certain people more than I like others. I don't, you know, we're friends. I'd rather be friends than mentor, but you know, they know, like Will is I think, you know, Will has been around for a long time, and I saw him start, you know. I did not mentor Oz. I have to say, Oz and I are great friends. We've been friends for 18 years. I think the first Tinley Park expo is where we met, at a dinner that Brian Barcheck was throwing at a big steakhouse. And
I heard about that.
Yeah, we sat next to each other and hit it off. We've been great friends ever since, and talk a lot. We talk a lot, but you know, we talk about everything, not just snakes.
Do you want to wait? Do you want? Okay, so this is, you know, this is my generationally how I look at friends. I don't like the term friends, because friends is like acquaintance to me. I feel like mentor is more of a friend than, you know what I mean? Because mentors go back and forth with each other. Like, meaning like whoever you mentored, you're still learning stuff from them. It's going back and forth. Yeah. You two mentor each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just, like, you know, friends is like an acquaintance to me. I don't like the term friends. I really don't. And this is just me, how I personally feel, because like I value relationships I have with people in this hobby, because here I am, like a kid in high school spending 2-3 hours on the phone with somebody talking about snakes. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, back then in high school it was probably with girls, but still, like, I'm just like, you know, I'm still like, you know, like on the phone late at night, just talking about like stuff that's just keeping me up, Nate. I don't even sleep good at night. And not that I know I sleep good. Let me rewind that. I sleep good. I don't sleep a lot. I sleep like 5 hours, and I'm already like up and going. I'm excited. You know, yeah, sometimes I get my afternoon nap in, you know, I got to admit that, but I'm up before the roosters are up. I'm up at 4 or 5 a.m. like clockwork. So my energy's just, I'm so excited to be up. I'm such a morning person, and it's all because of what's surrounding me. It's like, and I know what's fueling that, so I'm not going to stop, right? Like, why stop what makes you feel good?
Absolutely. So, when you say you talk to people, are you talking to them or are you texting or messaging?
Calling. I'm talking about old school. And that's because, and I will say, rest in peace. And one of my best friends, Forrest Fanning, he was the first one that I met in this hobby. He was like, "Hey, do you have a minute? Let me call you." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. This is neat. Let's talk." And I couldn't believe he wanted to call me. Like, this is somebody who, like, his account was the best to this day. You can still go to his account and it's still one of the nicest accounts that's on any Instagram platform. Okay. And it just drives me insane that this guy gave me the time of day, and he did. And we talked almost every other day for at least an hour on the phone. And it was him talking the entire time. And I mean, I have a podcast because I love to talk, but I love it when somebody could shut me up. And that's when somebody is that's when somebody is telling me stuff where I just want to listen and listen and listen. And I could tell you what, this is the first time in my life where I'm able just like to just do more listening than talking. You know, I've always been a big talker my entire life, but the knowledge I've been gaining just by listening to people, and, you know, as much as people thank me for having this, I mean, this goes to you guys. This goes to the people who I'm interviewing, because yeah, you know, I don't know, you guys are giving me the time of day. You don't have to come on here, especially Jayne. Like, this is a complete honor. I don't feel like I'm worthy of this, but it's happening.
That makes me really uncomfortable.
Sorry. Anyway.
You know, I have to say one thing about friends. I feel the term friend has been degraded, and unfortunately by Facebook, where you can press that little friend button and it's like, this is how many likes I have and this is how many friends I have. And that's really downgraded the value of friends, in my opinion. It's made them almost like not such a special word.
Statistic.
Yeah.
A number.
So guys, that's another reason why I try to, like, I get everybody wants to build a following, right? But like I want to build people who are following my work, not because I just followed them back. And like for the longest time, I didn't follow a lot of people purposely. Like, I knew that, I can maybe get this guy, but I was like, no, I don't want another distraction. I hate distractions. And sometimes people post some stupid stuff. And I'm not saying I'm innocent. I'm guaranteeing I probably rub people the wrong way with my post, but you simply don't have to follow me. I don't tell people, oh, you better follow me, blah, blah, blah. It's a choice. Following people is a choice. And I will say, though, since I started following more accounts, I've been seeing that there's been a lot more good than bad, because I got into this hobby 2017, and 2017 was a weird year, man, because that's when a lot of new people, not a lot, but there was new people coming in and making noise, like Miguel. Yeah, Miguel Garcia, you know what I mean? And you have, never heard of him?
He's got a lot of accounts apparently selling snakes right now. A lot.
Have you heard of
in Europe? And he's got like a new wife beside him. Have you seen somebody is hacked and they're using his picture and they're actually selling his snakes on fake accounts? Did you not see that today?
Was this new? Is this recent?
Yeah, he posted it today. He says, yeah, somebody's been trying to sell his snakes. You know, it happens. I had a guy try to sell my snakes once to me. Literally to me. He sent me pictures of my snakes with my logo attached to them. He didn't know who I was when I inquired. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
That can only, nowadays that can only go so far, because how many people are looking out for you nowadays? So that's good. You know what I mean? There's so many people that are going to see like that's not legit. And that's why I do get props to the community. Is like, people are on hawks. Like, if they notice that they see a Markus Jayne snake being sold on somebody from Europe or somebody in a different account, like, you guys are all over it. So people are all over it. So respect to that. But to real quick, to go back to Miguel real quick, because something crossed my mind, because I mean,
I love him.
I love him too. And I want to tell you what brought me and him together in the beginning, because like I said, I want to say the 2017 is when I legitimately like got my Instagram account going. But before then, I had a private account, personal account, and I was still following, I was following ball python accounts before I turned it into a brand. But Miguel was one of the first brands that I saw, and I was like, he mentored me, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that, you know, how awesome, and I could see his grind and his energy, but then I also started seeing that he was getting a little bit of hate, you know, from people who had been in the hobby and whatnot, saying that, oh, you know, he thinks money could buy things, and, you know, we'll see where he is in 2 years, yada, yada, yada. But it was kind of like, it was a broad bound. I mean, it was a lot. Like it was out there. But what was your first impression when somebody like Miguel came in and did what he did to the hobby? And I'm talking about not only with the snakes that he, like the projects he got into, but I'm talking about the YouTube platforms, the collaborations